Imagine closing down your restaurant to remodel it into a completely different concept and pouring a bunch of money into it, knowing that it's going to be a success, and then reopening that restaurant in 2019.
It's all passion driven, right? That's what's fine dining chefs especially. We're just passion driven. Nothing's going to stop you, right?
That's what this restaurant owner did, and you can imagine all the stress that happened, but what he did was he was able to turn that restaurant into a success. Not only a success, a 2 Michelin-Star success.
I always think like you want to make it feel like you're in a movie, sexy, like, you know, you see a part in a movie and you're like, oh yeah, I want to be that person sitting there. The most important thing is ambiance.
And then after that, he got an accidental Michelin-Star, meaning that he wasn't trying for it, it just happened. Restaurant owners are hard workers. I've never met a restaurant owner who's not a hard worker, but they work on the wrong things. This is the success metric and blueprint that you're going to want to copy, so pay attention.
I'm Josiah Citrin, chef, owner, chief debuter of Citrin and Mélisse restaurant in Santa Monica, California.
Tell me about your concepts. I know that there's a pathway to what it is now. I'm curious to hear about that.
So in 1999, I opened Mélisse restaurant, Santa Monica. It was kind of like my dream restaurant, fine dining. I was 31 when we actually opened the doors. You know, many years of transition, always evolving, I think. We always tried to evolve, you know, but you don't realize that when you're doing it, right? Time just goes by and you keep adapting to what's going on. And next thing you know, it's 20 years later in 2019 and the lease was over and I had to renew everything and kind of came up with the idea of changing the concept. Like, what do I want to do going forward? And so I created 2 restaurants in the one building that operate separately but together. So I have Citrin and Mélisse. So Mélisse, I took a small, maybe 30% of the restaurant, and I created a 5-table restaurant with the kitchen and the dining room are one, and very cool, very like I'd say like an art studio could be. Everything is like we play vinyl, we play whole albums. It's like a real, you know, you ring a doorbell, kind of like a speakeasy, and just wanted to. If I'm going to keep doing this after 20 years, I want to do fine dining the way I want to do it. So I kind of changed the concept a lot. And then I took the other 70% of the restaurant and I created Citrin, which is, we put all the old signature Mélisse dishes on that menu. So we wanted to create all new menus in Mélisse. So Citrin got some of the signature dishes and put a big bar. We do a big happy hour, 24 seats at the bar, and try to make it a little more casual. And this happened, we actually, by the time we got open, 4 months late, like always, no matter how prepared you are.
No matter what.
2019, December. So next thing you know, it's March, and we closed March the year before in 2019. So we're repacking and going through everything again in March 2020 and kind of trying to figure out what we're going to do. And then we said, okay, well, we're going to embrace this. And we, got the patio going, got the takeout going. I was doing takeout. I'm like, who's going to do takeout? Well, how am I going to do fine dining takeout? How's that going to work? But it worked, and we worked hard at creating a really good product. Researched it a lot, so we did that. The patios were busy, and we ended up being super busy. Some of our best years were the COVID years, actually. You had no competition, no movies, no baseball games, no concerts. So to go out, it had to be there. And we got a whole new crowd of people coming in. But we had these 2 restaurants, one Citrin that really wasn't well known, and then Mélisse, what we opened it as, couldn't operate on the patio. It had to be in that room because of the whole concept. So we kind of made up some Mélisse X Citrin and started a whole new thing for the while. So fast forward to when we get to open back up inside. So then we created new concepts and we're on our way. And that's kind of where we're operating now. 2 restaurants in one building. We share the bar, makes all the cocktails from Mélisse. The dishwashers are the same. The kitchen are separate. The staff is separate. But obviously it's one company that they all work for. So it's kind of worked out pretty well. In the sense that it feels like when one's a little slower, the other one carries it. It's like you can't do a 5-table fine dining in reality without the support 100%. Of the other restaurant.
Yeah, it's almost like the passion project.
And we didn't, exactly. But it actually, sometimes that carries the other restaurant, so it depends. And we ended up with this great patio that we didn't plan on after COVID. So now we have a private party space where we can do big parties, which helps a lot too. So that's kind of the basic concept and philosophy we're going through. Then Citrin was never meant to get it. It got a Michelin-Star. Like Mélisse had 2 since the guy came to LA in 2008. We received 2 Michelin-Stars the first time it did LA. And then we kept it. They left LA from 2009 to 2019. So we kept our 2 stars technically. No one took them away. And then when they came back in 2021, I mean, they did 2019, we were closed, so no Michelin stars. And then in 2021, when they came back after COVID, we got the 2 stars back, and that was great, so excited. And then in 2022, Citrin got a star.
Wow.
But it really wasn't the idea, like, because LA is a weird market, and I was trying to keep it more casual. Some ways it's great, a lot of tourism, it's wonderful. But the LA crowd, sometimes they think it's too fancy. It's not an everyday place with the Michelin star.
Do you kind of use the fine dining aspect of it as like almost like a test kitchen of what you could put in Citron?
Basically, it all kind of starts there, and everything kind of starts for what we're going to use for product there. We share product, so we might want to make, in asparagus season, have the perfect asparagus, like every one exactly the same width for Mélisse. What do you do with all the rest of the asparagus? Well, then we make an asparagus soup in Citrin, or we make asparagus risotto, so it gives us the ability to use the best in Mélisse and then use the other product, but it's not bad product, it's just not the, it's the same
Fine
quality.
dining, right.
It's just not what we're looking for in that perfect
So smart.
dream restaurant.
Because I can use both of them.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's impressive with the Michelin stars. I mean, it's always great when you get a Michelin star without trying to get a Michelin star. It says that you're doing something right.
Yeah, it is. It's like, but I mean, a lot of those dishes had 2 stars at one point because some of the signature dishes were in Mélisse, like the lobster bolognese.
What's your favorite dish on the menu right now?
My favorite dish is the tomato soup. And it's the only dish that we serve in both restaurants. Because I love it that much. And it's a soup that we started making when we opened. It's a certain variety of tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes. We only do it in the summer. It's a Mandarin Cross variety. So it gets really creamy and has a really sweet and sour flavor. And we pair that. Originally, it started off with a sweet shallot, garlic flan, and then it turned into an ice cream, sweet and sour, a sweet shallot and garlic ice cream. And then it became a tomato sorbet. And then now in the current stage, the last maybe 8 years, it became strawberry sorbet, pardon. So it went sweet garlic, shallot, tomato sorbet, and then strawberry.
What's been your favorite?
This is my favorite.
Which one? Oh, the strawberry?
This strawberry variation is the best. It's like we can't change it. I don't think I can get better. It's like at that point. And I like it so much, and it's such a short season that we just do it in both restaurants.
And the flan must have been interesting.
The flan was great too. It was just a little more rich. It was richer, but it was awesome, very good. Everything.
That sounds so cool. All of it sounds cool.
Yeah, so it's.
I'll have to come check it out. Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm absolutely gonna come check it out because that sounds really cool. There was a place in Las Vegas. I think it was at the Cosmopolitan. It wasn't the same concept, but it had the same exact 2 restaurants under one building. It was very strange. One was like Mexican and one was Chinese. And you'd walk in and they're literally literally like a split down the middle.
Yeah.
There'd be a host stand with like 2 hostesses, and they're like, "Which way do you want to go?" And they had a little bit of cross stuff where like you can order dumplings still at the Mexican place, or you can order like the birria tacos, but it was completely separate. But I always liked that concept. I thought that was kind of cool and fun, to do that. But I really like that idea. We just had a owner here that had a fine dining restaurant, but it was counter service, because he was like, what if we did a fine dining experience, but it was counter service, more approachable, friendly, easygoing, which I actually really love that concept too.
So it's funny because I thought about doing that, and then I went to eat at all the counters around the country and tried them, and then I said, the only thing is if you're on an anniversary, or you're spending a special time, because this Mélisse is $650 check average, right? It's expensive, $700. I was like, well, then you're like sitting right near someone, so there's no intimacy. So I said, how do I create that same experience and give a little intimacy? And that's how we came up with the 5 tables. And the kitchen, you see, so it's kind of like you're sitting facing the counter, and all the chefs are involved in the service. They bring the food, they explain it, so it's like a
That's so cool.
family affair.
I love that. I love the vinyl aspect of it too.
Oh, the vinyl is the best part. Like, just we play only albums. Try never to play greatest hits, because that's not an art piece, right? That's a bunch of things put together. So the idea is like a menu, right? From beginning to end. I'm a huge Stones fan, so we always start with the Rolling Stones. I found these plates that are like Rolling Stones plates.
Oh, nice.
And so they have the outside of the Sticky Fingers and the Some Girls album, and then the other plate is the inside of it with the songs on it. So like
You found those plates?
I mean, actually, my friend Michael Cimarusti, another Michelin-star chef, sent me, said he knows I love him, sent me a link to it and said, look what I found. And it happened to be a company we buy plates from in France.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can buy, it wasn't like a used...
No, but it's a special edition. When they're gone, they're gone. So I keep buying extra just to store them away.
Smart.
But it's like very cool. It looks like an album, black vinyl.
I like that clash of like fine dining, but still like
Yeah, we play
almost like a
it's like
punk
a
rock.
rock and roll punk
Yeah.
rock. We play the Clash. We play everything, all music. Nothing's off limits. You know. Then we adjust to the crowd who's in there. You could, you know, sometimes we have a play we try to pick the albums ahead of the service, but it could change depending on who's there. Or if someone says, oh, I really love Queen. Or like sometimes they walk through the restaurant to Citrin, they come back, oh, I heard David Bowie in there. Oh, then we'll put a David Bowie album. I love him, so I'm gonna put a David Bowie album.
That's so cool.
So
What are the
very
uniforms?
Uniforms is another thing we did. So funny, I go through uniforms like, it doesn't matter, it matters. Over the years, what matters and doesn't matter. And recently I just said, you know, I'm not happy with all these uniforms, like the chefs in the white jacket. So I switched to chefs. We do 2 jackets. So we do Wednesday and Thursday, a navy blue chef coats that are like kind of very nice, beautiful navy. And they do a light gray apron. And then on Friday and Saturday, we do a charcoal chef coat with a navy apron. And the front of house, they wear brown linen suits the 2 days a week when we wear the navy. And then on the charcoal gray day, they wear beautiful, like a navy blue linen suits with light blue shirts.
Is there, I mean, I love that. Is there a reason why those days and those colors?
I mean, we have to pick a day that no one messes up. So I guess we just did it so that everybody shows up the same. And it's like the chefs and everybody. And it was just kind of, there was no exact reason. It's just kind of the colors. I like them. The chef coats are harder to find in cool things that were not black or white. So basics. And then just kind of changed that in there. And then at the same time, I went and changed all the Citrin uniforms we did like linen core coats with a white t-shirt and and brown linen pants. Trying to make it a little more, but like curated, very curated, but not stuffy, not like feeling like a suit.
Yeah, because I like the idea that like you can really get a different experience if you happen to come in like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a little bit of a different, because with the music, obviously with the menu, and then possibly with the uniforms too, right?
Then the menu changes, it goes along. I mean, everything matters, right? Everything you change, everything you, like once you design the restaurant, you know, that you have that for a certain amount of years because it's expensive. But then it's like change the artwork, you know, we change the artwork, or you can change the uniforms or the plateware. I think the menu covers, because everything to the guests is like, they like to be, you know, you can get old otherwise. It's like, what's next?
Right.
You gotta always think that way, otherwise.
For sure.
Then you get bored, everybody gets bored.
100%. Every concept's
the same, exactly.
Yeah. How long is the tomato soup gonna be in season?
Probably hopefully until the end of, this year is a very bizarre year because it's so hot. Everything came really early. Usually we can push it to like the very first week of October.
I'm gonna try and make it down there.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Okay, cool. Well, I love your concept. I love your passion, your vision. It's very cool. I'm definitely gonna make it down there and check it out. But I'm curious, what constraints are you having right now to fully realize your vision?
I think the constraints right now for the vision, I mean, is like obviously we're in Los Angeles right now, which is struggling because Hollywood's changed, and that's a huge part of our business. We're in Santa Monica, which is very close to Palisades, so we lost 25,000 customers that were regulars that would come, especially for Citrin. And then the tourists are really what goes to Mélisse, and obviously tourism's down also in LA and Santa Monica. We have some issues with homeless and all that, but I think that they've realized finally that they have to change it. So I do see some positivity. Those are the constraints are out of my control, really, right? That's out of my control. And I think the constraints are the first 20 years I had amazing staff, right? And they were there a long time. And then with the switch of the restaurant, some didn't like it, you know, but it was also a long time. And then COVID hit, so that really changed it all. And then it took us a long time to get the staff back, especially in Citrin. And now Citrin is interesting because it's a little more casual, but it's not, because it's the same room that everybody came to Mélisse for 20 years. And it has some Mélisse dishes. So people expect the old Mélisse, basically, and that same service. And it wasn't meant to be at that level, of that exact service, right? But we have to produce that now. So we kind of took us a while to get back. And just recently, we've been getting like to that point. I mean, we get there, then people leave. But many years ago, so when I first opened Mélisse, I expected I was 31 years old, and then I hired all these waiters that were like the typical salty dogs, they had the experience in the fine dining, and I was miserable, and my service sucked, and they all want to cut corners, and so then I said, screw it. From now on, I'm going to be involved in hiring with the manager. I'm going to, get to meet the people. I worked the floor a lot, kind of wanted to understand what was going on. So I'm going to find people that are passionate. I don't care if they have fine dining experience, but I can't teach them the passion. I can't teach them to want to be there and want to learn. And so we kind of started finding personalities, different people, and the people thought I was crazy at first, and it worked, right? That was like for the waiters. And then I found the best loyal Latinos, and some of them are still with me today in the back of house. And they really created and I always took very good care of them, because they're the ones that stay. The servers will come and go. But as long as I have that solid crew that's giving the support, I could always have great service, right? So it's kind of became that balance. But after COVID, it was hard to recreate that. But we're still go with that same philosophy to find the people that care. And right now we actually got some really great people in lately. So it's kind of been,
nice.
It's been a really interesting to see it happen. And I know that 30%, I always go by 33% is critical mass, right? When it hits 33%. So if we could have 33% of this team on, I always talk about it, then we start hitting critical mass. Then the rest of it, the tumbleweed starts going, and you kind of get everybody involved in it. It's when you fall below that, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, 100%.
And we were kind of tiddling there and back and forth and fighting that. It was really a fight. And especially when you can't find a good manager out of COVID, it was crazy. And that was really hard too. And it was but I feel like right now it's kind of at that point where.
Yeah, and I think it's with that, it's also about cultivating the culture, keeping that really tight. And now that you have that critical mass, hyper-focusing on how do I keep building that and developing it. Because the more you have of that, if you get to 60% or whatever, people leave,
they keep going, they come, it's fluid. That way. It's and then as this kitchen goes, it's always been hard because when Citrin and Mélisse, I have 5 other restaurants, and I can take the kitchen from there if it's solid, right? Because once somebody goes around the whole kitchen, stays with me 2-3 years, and I need a sous chef at another restaurant or a chef, those people are the best ones to go into those situations for me, instead of hiring outside.
Moving up from within.
Moving within and coming from the signature restaurant where all the technique, everything is at the most intense level. And COVID hurt that. It took away that because we didn't have that.
But now you're rebuilding it.
Yeah, we've rebuilt it. It's pretty much right now. Took 6 years, but 5 years. I guess COVID ended 4 years ago, really. So
how do you feel? What do you feel like your biggest challenges are right now, as of right now, with the culture that you do have?
It's not a money thing. That makes it sometimes harder too, right?
For sure.
Because before it was all actors and people. They wanted money. It was a very money thing. So it's more of just just getting them to the next level of what it means to serve on people and how good it feels when, our motto has always been in pursuit of excellence, and then to receive a guest is to take charge of their happiness the entire time they're under your roof, right? So they take their happiness, right? Not just them, so it's an amazing experience. We want them to leave and say they felt like kings and queens. So I think it's just enrolling the generation into what it feels like when you get a letter or you hear that we felt like kings and queens. That's the hardest part in Citrin. Mélisse, we have that down. We have the team. It's a small team. It's great. We do everyone in Mélisse now has come from Citrin since we started. When someone leaves Mélisse, then we usually pluck the best person out of Citrin. And
there's a line.
So there's a line, exactly.
Yeah.
Which helps also. That helps motivate
for sure.
The younger generation.
It's so funny because we work with so many restaurant groups that have, multiple, casual restaurants and then a fine dining restaurant. And they're like, man, this casual restaurant, I could not get it down. Fine dining restaurant.
It's funny. I have all these other restaurants, and I have a restaurant, Charcoal Venice. Great crew, great team. We're a neighborhood restaurant. Guys have been there forever. Just awesome. Our reviews, very casual. It's not anywhere near the same service. Goes great. I have another one called Dear Jane's, and I cannot get it together. We cannot get the staff together. It's been going on for so long. It's I need to
jumpstart it.
I need to put a lot of time in it. It's really needs to it's never gotten going. And then almost all of them, that's the only one I've had problem with, so much issue with. Probably I put the amount of my time in it too.
Yeah, and that's always, but that's where I think you need to probably, that's your next evolution of an owner is like, how do I build these things without me having to be hyper involved, right? I can build a team that can help me build these things because, you know, your ultimate skill set is building.
Building, yes. And then it's fine. The other ones is fine. It's just that one I don't have. I have never, it's just been a weird thing.
How long has it been around?
It opened in 2022, like the worst time you could ever open a restaurant.
Yeah, seriously. Well, yeah, it's bad.
It was bad timing and just everything kind of went downhill.
So, I mean, Citrin, I want to talk about that because I think there's some opportunities there. I think, you know, like you said, you have the culture down, it's getting there, you have the people, which is awesome, but now it's like, how do we keep it, right? I always tell people like the A is easy to get, it's hard to keep the A. So how do we keep it? And do you have trained trainers right now?
We have trained trainers. I mean, yes, we have trained trainers in the sense of I have certain people that have been with a long time that do all the training.
Okay. So you have people that are
I have people that are dedicated to training.
Okay.
Obviously, sometimes when we move one to Mélisse, we lose one. So then we get then we have to train the next one, and it kind of goes like that.
Yeah, because I think, you know, you can have a really cool ladder where you could say you start off any position, right? You can start off as a busser, you can start off as a hostess, and then obviously you can move up to food runner, and then you can move up to server, right? Server can be, you know, the least desired shifts. And then after server, you know, to keep them motivated, keep the carrot at the end of the stick, you can move them up to trainer. And a training protocol is two things. It has to have like a, you know, at least one day of training to train the trainer. Basics of like what you're looking for, what our culture is, really truly understanding a deep level. But more importantly, your trainers can act as an extra set of eyes and ears for leadership, right? And you know, keep people on task. Not necessarily like directing them, but like, you know, hey, so-and-so is on their phone all day or whatever, you know, letting like the leadership know, but also what's really good about a trainer is a trainer represents, they have expectations, right? So it's like, we're expecting you to perform at a certain level. We're expecting you to, you know, do these things and, you know, act as a manager. But with that, you're going to be a trainer, you get the best schedule, whatever, and you're going to be next in line for Mélisse. So that's it. So that's a natural progression. There's no way you're getting into Mélisse without being a trainer. And there's also going to be, you know, 3 or 4 trainers, so you have to be in line. It's a time thing as well. And it's also a performance thing. So if you have 4 trainers and one trainer's slacking off, showing up late, not doing the right things, whatever, giving the managers a hard time, like they can lose their ranking. It can't just be seniority.
No,
because that's what you kill.
That makes sense. Yeah, you always have to like. It's funny because we just actually in Citrin and Mélisse, I just switched. My manager just left after 3 years, and we have a new one coming in, and he got sloppy at the end. You know, he got sloppy. So, but the new one coming in. She's very about the standards, and she gets that part. She doesn't really know the fine dining aspect as much. And like I say, I don't worry about that as much. I'm there. My chef partner Ken, who's been with me 27 years, is there. Obviously, I have a director of operations also, who's there every day. You know, so we have but the trainer thing's a good idea to put that into effect. Like I have the back waiters that do that, and he gets more hourly wage. I mean, he does it. He trains everybody, and he usually for 1 week when they start, when they're captain, they get trained.
Love that.
We do a 2-week training period.
Nice.
Could be 3 weeks if they're not ready. Obviously, the hardest part was the training is a lot of people don't take the job when you tell them the training program, but it's like, but they save me time.
100%.
It saves me so much time and money because otherwise they're not going to make it anyway.
Right, and they're telling you right away, I'm all about money. Yeah. I'm strictly money motivated. It's going to be about me. They're basically telling you it's about me.
Exactly.
Right, so a real server or employee, and especially Gen Z, are going to be excited about that. Yeah. They're going to be like, thank you. You're going to train me the right way. I'm excited about that, motivated by that.
So we do do this in pursuit of excellence, employee of the month, right? And we used to do it before also, but I got tired. You went through the rotation and kind of gave out. Now I'd say, no, we got it. Someone could win it 3 months in a row. It's like, it's not this like, it's not like a go around, here you go, you know? And then we had to come out like, how do we give something that's like a reward? So they get to park in the parking lot for a month.
Oh,
they win it. They get the good spot.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I tell people all the time, make the freaking the award like something they want.
They want, and let me tell you, parking around our restaurants is a pain in the ass. Right? There's all this permitted parking, so they got that.
Because again, to your point, the employee of the month is great as long as it's done right. Yeah. It can't be a participation trophy. Yeah. And B, it has to be a prize that they're excited about. Because a lot of times they're like, we'll give you a $50 gift card to like Amazon or something. It's like, it's fine, it's nice, But if it's something where they're like, I'll do 10, I want that 10 months in a row. I want to get that every single month. Like that's important. Yeah. So that I love that idea. It's smart. And that's clever because it doesn't really cost you money. Yeah. Right? It's not like a huge thing, but it's a huge value add for them. But same with the training, right? Like training has to have that, like the trainer has to have a really big carrot. Because a lot of times, like you said, it's like a couple bucks more an hour.
That helps, but that helps the back waiter.
Right, back waiters, yes. Servers are probably not going to be motivated by that, right?
I probably need to take him and say, oh yeah, and use them to go to the other restaurants to train is what I need to do. Train at the other restaurants. And I can give them meals at all the restaurants too. That's a possibility, all kinds of stuff.
And then just say like, and also there's a ranking system, right? We're going to evaluate once a month and make sure if your seniority, and let's say you guys are both kicking butt, seniority, okay, cool, you're going to have the ranking. But if you fall down, right, if you start coming in late, if you start, not performing at the highest level, then we move you up, the next person up. So that way, because that's the real ranking, but you get that. But training them at a high level, because understanding too that when you have trained trainers, there's studies out there that show you that your employees stay longer. The staff actually stays longer. It's getting trained because they're being trained properly and by motivated people. And then your trainers stay longer. So who are your trainers? They're your best employees, right? And they're motivated. And then when you have that, because you have the most, to me, from a smaller restaurant group, you have a great carrot at the end of the stick, right? If you have 60 locations, you can be a director of operations one day.
Yeah. We had all the greatest trainers I had that were with me so long. Like now, one is managing Dear Jane's, and the other one is
I love that.
He's
awesome.
Dear John's. Sorry, because we have two, Dear John's and Dear Jane's.
Oh, okay.
So he's managing that. He's doing great there, and I put him there, and it's always such a hard loss to replace him, though, Mm-hmm. And then the other Frank, who worked with me, and then he I didn't feel he was ready for the job, and then he got pissed and left and went away and worked in some crazy 800 people thing on the East Coast, a seasonal thing in Maine. Came back, and I was like, you're ready for it now. And then he took it, and he's doing great as a manager. But then you get to the point where you kind of deplete your staff when you get too many of your trainers are gone.
That's how you build up that bench.
Yeah, you have to have that bench, exactly.
So you can have 6 in one location or whatever, 2 or 3 in each location, and just build that bench up and just start training them up slowly, right, for that man. And then that's a whole mindset. It's letting them know you are an extension management now. You are, so you're representing it. So you're talking to us, you're telling us you can't, you got to be responsible, you got to be smart. But with Dear Jane, what do you think the biggest problem is right now?
I think with Dear Jane's right now, it's it kind of started off, me and I have a partner in it, and this one, Dear John's and Dear Jane have a partner. They sold their business, so they're kind of traveling in retirement, but involved, but it's hard because we can't, So I think that did it, and then actually we just sold it.
Okay.
So to a new owner, and it's kind of it was basically an 8 months problem. I mean, it took that long to do it because of the landlord, and it had to do with also, it had the landlord, and then the county had to sign off on it because it's in the Marina Del Rey. And so now it's done, and now I'm being hired on as a consultant with him.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so now it's gonna start off new. He wants a new manager. I think they're going to start fresh with the new owner, and I'm going to help him kind of do the kitchen and there. So I think it was just a lot of
moving parts.
And he was supposed to come in. I really didn't want to do anything until what he was going to choose to do and hire someone. It was kind of a weird situation.
Kind of makes everything at a standstill.
Yes, it was kind of a standstill like that. And I feel like now it's going to change. But before that, I wasn't going crazy. It was it's been always kind of that.
Well, you nailed it. Leadership's really important. And I always tell people, because sometimes you work with restaurants that have 16 locations. Yeah. One of them has a 3.9 rating on Google, and one of them has a 4.9. And I'm showing them I can tell you right now, this one has a great leader, this one doesn't. There's no way it's flipped, right?
I know, that's the hard point. It's the hard part. It's it's been just a difficult battle since we opened. Like I said, it has to do with the effort I wanted to put in and in the beginning or everything. So, but I feel like now, I'm going to give him 100% of my effort in this, to help them get going. And then
I think a part of it too, though, is you maybe putting together a true leadership development protocol. So if someone gets hired or moved into that role, they have a protocol they go to that's maybe 6 months long.
I think that's the good thing to do, because I've been fortunate enough to had a lot of them there already.
Right.
And this is the only one, and maybe I didn't want to pluck one of my other ones and put them there, and everything, not knowing what's going to happen. So I feel like that. You know, I have like a really good, I have a management team with me. Like we have like director of operations. Well, we call him a director of restaurants. Then I have a director of operations that does all the operational stuff. She's been with me 10 years. My daughter works with us, and she went to hospitality school at San Diego State University, so she's helps a lot with that. So, you know, I have a lot of people I can task with just come up with the leadership.
Yeah.
It's not only me doing this, you know.
Right.
It's not only me.
Pull your resources together.
I have plenty of people to do it. And
they've gone through it, right? So they know what it looks like and what it should look like and what good looks like, what excellent looks like, and then what bad looks like. So it's like, how do we develop them up into, because it's not just, leadership's important. Like they need to know how to lead and not just manage.
Yes,
That's
definitely. It's
huge.
Leadership is the biggest part.
And then they also have to know how to do it your way, right? It has to be our brand that's doing it. I don't want you coming from another really great restaurant, right? Awesome. You spent the last 5 years there, 10 years there. That's great. But like, we're not operating like they are. We're not them.
Exactly, and it's never the same, and it never fits together. Like
never. You can't just go copy and paste, right?
No, and you always think, oh, this person worked at all these great restaurants. So they come in and just there's still that it has to be your brand. They have to follow what you're going for and what your vision is.
Because I've talked to so many owners before where they're like, man, Preston, we brought on this GM and they had all this amazing experience, and we thought that they would just be fixing so many issues for us or helping us with so many things, or they would fit in, and it was a disaster. It's like, because, you know, your work history doesn't tell you the full story.
No, and it's, for me, I'm a very involved owner, like in Citrin and Mélisse, because that's my passion, is being in the kitchen there, and that's where I want to be, you know, and so it's kind of like I'm still like the GM of the restaurant in some ways, just because I'm there all the time. Right. And then I also have Chef Ken there all the time also right now, who's been 27 years with me, and he takes an ownership role because I made him a partner, you know, after so many years. He's a partner in the whole business, all the restaurants.
There's a lot of oversight.
But my true thing is to break away and be more at all the other, you know, not be at them, but my energy. But, you know, for me, I'm focused on that third star.
Right.
You want that third star.
Right.
You know, so, but I also, you get passionate about building. Then you end up with all these restaurants. So
I mean, I think there's definitely ways to do it. You're always going to be on the business side of it, but then even then, you can always, you know, eventually someone comes in and just takes over that side of it too. The beauty about restaurants, and I always tell people this, is that you can take someone who has like no education after high school and turn them into a high level entrepreneur, because you can just show them the ropes. Like anybody, like chefs are a great example of that. Chef comes in, I'm a line cook, or I'm a dishwasher. You move them up to a GM, like a real GM that actually handles all the tasks, and all of a sudden they know how to run a business.
Yeah.
They know the numbers, they know the finances, labor, all that stuff, laws, you know, they know the ins and outs of a business. And then if you take them to director of operations, you know, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, you can definitely train someone to run the leases. What is a good lease? What is a bad lease? You know, all that good stuff, and location, scouting, you know, food costs. I mean, it's just they can learn everything ins and out about how to run a business from literally ideation to, you know, year 10.
I mean, that's how I learned. I just started cooking.
Yes.
I just started becoming a chef, and I had no idea like where it was going to lead me to. But then I wanted to open my own restaurant, and we started. You know, me and my partner Raphael opened Giraffe Restaurant in Santa Monica in 1996, and then I left to open Mélisse, and then he was open 20 years until the lease ran out. That's like a lot of restaurants are 19 years, because the year you spend building, 20 years, and then you create a better area, and then the landlord says, I want to cash out now, and then they want to double the rent. And you're like, I don't see staying here to make less money than I made before.
Right.
And then they close up. 19 years, a lot of times there's that time frame.
That's a good point, yeah. I know someone was telling me, he's like, I always try and look for family-owned properties that are like dedicated to keeping the properties, you know, not selling, because that's what happens.
That's what you want to do. But then sometimes, I tried to buy Mélisse forever, and the building, and then the landlord's daughter inherited, and she bought out the other partner, and then when she did that, everything changed. But also having a good attorney is important.
See?
Because we negotiated that it was going to take us 10 years to get to paying the full new property tax. So it went up. It goes up every year over 10 years. So in 2029, I'll be at the full property tax amount. But I had 10 years to pay off the new investment, everything we did to open the restaurant.
Does the city subsidize that, or is it the landlord?
No, when it's like a triple net, you pay everything. The landlord pays nothing. Basically, you pay their property tax, You pay your insurance, their insurance. I mean, it's a complete scam. And I think when you're young, you don't understand it. The
Right.
business part,
that's the only option.
you just want to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
You don't care, so you'll sign whatever you can on it, you know?
You're just amazed someone's giving you this, letting you sign.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how it was when we signed there. Like, we signed a personal guarantee, but that's long gone. We made it past the 20 years, so.
Yeah, and I get to your point. It's like you start off as a cook, and you're just like, what do I do? And then you start with one restaurant. How does this work? And now all of a sudden you're multi-lease, multi-restaurants.
And that's kind of where you get to the point where now I need that. Like, I know the leaders, the plan. You need more of the plan, because you don't. The strategy, because at that point you didn't use a strategy to get here. Because it's all passion driven, right? That's what fine dining chefs especially. We're just passion driven. Nothing's gonna stop you, right?
Not a crazy amount to lose.
Exactly. And I was fortunate enough I had a good business sense. I never, maybe to my fault or to my benefit, I never only chose the food over everything. I always had to make a smart business decision also, because I wanted to be there. You know, I know that 100 minus 105 is not going to work out, right? So you got to keep it at 100 minus like 85 is much better.
I always tell people too, I'm like, you know, that's what I say. I go, listen, I love passion. I love giving to, you know, people an amazing experience and giving your employees an amazing experience. But, you know, at the end of the day, you also have to be able to do that, you're going to have to create revenue.
Yeah, and I think it's also making that, like, a lot of the things like you say is very interesting to us. Me and Chef Ken always watch the little clips on Instagram, and because you need to like get to the next, like the trainers, all this. Because I can't keep doing this. I'm 58. I don't want to be
in the business. Yeah,
I want to be able to come in and just hang out in the kitchen, and so I need to really get to that next level and be, you know, motivated to do that.
And it's all infrastructure, right? It's just because I can almost guarantee you, from what it sounds like, you have the infrastructure already. It's just not, the systems aren't created yet, and the training's not 100% there.
A lot of the systems are there. We have tons of systems, so many.
Well,
but actually, I don't want to say so many. It's overkill, but we do have a lot of systems that maybe I'm just a control freak, or I don't know. You know, I need to step back and let it go more.
That's a big piece too.
Let it happen.
Yeah, that's a big piece too. You have to let it go, let them fail.
Yeah.
Let things, you know, maybe even sales do this, right, for a minute, but it has the J hook, and because you have to let people own the role, take it over. Sometimes to create the role properly, you have to see someone fail in it to understand how to develop it properly. There's a lot of aspects of it that don't make it so black and white and simple and easy to do. But it has to happen, right? It has to happen, and it's the only way it could happen. It's never going to be a perfect handoff. It already sounds like you have the infrastructure of people, which is great, right? Like the director of restaurants, director of operations, you have your daughter, like all those things. It's like, but are they? Because I always tell people, you know, right, restaurant owners. I just had a live event in June with 500 people, and I had an owner who just took all this action. Literally, it's been 60 days, and he's had all these results already. Because he's next day came up with a game plan, boom, just started executing. And he goes, Preston, people kept asking me, you know, what I learned at the live event, and he's like, but I spent so much money to be there and to travel and take my team there. He's like, I don't want to tell anybody the secrets. He's like, I paid so much money to be there, and they want to say, oh, they want to learn for free. And I told him, I'll tell you what, you're going to learn something really quickly. You can give them the secrets. They're not going to have the success you have because they're not going to do the work. But what I tell them is like, and you probably can attest to this, restaurant owners are hard workers. I've never met a restaurant owner who's not a hard worker, but they work on the wrong things. They stay busy, they're working 60, 80 hours a week, 7 days a week, 6 days a week, but they're working on the wrong things.
We definitely try to keep, like when I hire my manager, I don't want you working 60 hours a week. I have easy restaurants. We're 5-day-a-week restaurants. So only one of them 7 days a week, you know, so that's a fortunate thing. We're in a higher price level.
Yeah, you can afford to do that.
I do have a fast casual restaurant also too, but that one doesn't make money. It's bad location.
What's your most successful restaurant right now?
I think that Citrin and Mélisse, Citrin and Mélisse is probably the most glamorous. Dear John's is very successful. Charcoal is very successful. They all operate, we operate decently. You know, I try to operate at least 15 to 17% profit on all of them.
That's fantastic.
We operate good. But I grind. We push people. Like, I don't overstaff.
You have to.
I don't over.
Yeah.
It is like, we're very fair also, but we don't
There has to be there's a middle ground.
It's not a hour driving thing, but it's definitely like
Production.
a production, and I'm not gonna overstaff. I'm not gonna have 3 dishwashers.
I agree 100% on that. There's a responsible, but you're not gonna also have one dishwasher.
No. Well, yeah, because the thing is, like, it's somewhere like Mélisse, if you have one dishwasher and every plate that breaks is $200.
Yeah.
So
Got a problem.
you already lost. That's less than a day of pay.
Right. Might as well bring on that dishwasher.
Yeah, exactly.
He's paying for himself. What concept has the best profit margins?
I mean, so I think when we're busy, the fine dining is. When they're busy, they're all profitable, very profitable, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously now costs are going up more than we can raise our prices. So it's really like you have to, like, at the end of the day, from 2015 to 2020, the minimum wage went up from $10.25 to $15, and now we're at $18.50 basically in LA. And now it goes up every year. So it's hard to see the equation, right? Like we cut everybody, like we have one pre-shift a week that everybody's there now, because that's what you get in business, right? So you need to make that one really, really good. If I raise the prices to where I need to be, no one's gonna eat there. You can't get loosey-goosey when it's busy, because then when it gets tight, you don't have the funds to support it. You can't just go spending like crazy, right? It's a year is you never know what's going to happen.
But I always, because that's what I tell people to focus on. That's why hospitality is such an obsession of mine, because I tell people, I'm like, that's ultimately like what we focus on, what I tell owners to focus on, obsess over is guest retention, right? That's the name of the game. That's it. Like, when we want to boil it all down to it, like your one ultimate goal is guest retention.
100%. And it's different in every kind of restaurant too. Like at Charcoal, we have huge guest retention. Very local restaurant. And all my restaurants have a happy hour that are really focused at the neighborhoods. So from 5:30 to 7 every day we're open. Never like, I don't do only these days, and it's really only half portions and half the price. I don't do deals. I just give a good value to them, and we create like the skewers at Charcoal with the meat pieces that were too small that we couldn't use or something. We make a skewers, but we do that. And I was never a chef that was like, I'm not gonna do happy hour. I was like totally like, no way, you know? Okay, I'll do it. I'm not gonna call it happy hour. So I'm a longtime surfer. We're in Venice, not far from the beach. So I called it evening glass off. Like,
evening what?
The evening glass off. So
glass off?
Glass off. Like when it gets glassy at night and you get to get your second surf session, usually when you're on a vacation somewhere, because LA never glasses off. But anyway, so it was just kind of like a tap to surfing. And then we opened it and we created the menus for it, and then at Charcoal it took off. And it's like we have a line out the door every day, pretty much. That's great. So we put that in at Dear Jane's, it does well, and at Citrin it does well. But they're all different ways. Like if you go to Citrin, you get you can make a tasty menu, and most people come in and they'll do like 5 or 6 dishes they'll share, and then they'll finish the burger, because we have like a great burger that we only serve at the bar. And all the restaurants, it's only served at the bar, the burger. But at happy hour, it's $15. It's a great deal.
Right. It's a great burger.
It's a great burger, yeah. So that's the happy hours work really good for us, because otherwise I'm gonna have an empty bar. Like and they're drinking and people are spending money, and it's a great vibe. Because then when people walk through the restaurant to come to the dining room, the bar's full. It's like, you create an ambiance, right? Because the most important thing is ambiance first. I don't care about the food, ambiance and the service, and then the food.
Yep.
There's a lot of great food out there.
Yes.
And it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, it's hard for a chef to say that, but that's the reality. Like you have the ambiance, the vibe, to create that with the service, that's all that matters. That's what matters the most.
Not only is there a lot of great food out there, but people will take a lesser desired product
for good service.
For good service and good ambiance, right? If I go to a restaurant, it's dead, but they have a really good fish dish, but then I go to this restaurant, not as good, but man, it's so lively and it's packed and people are there.
Always happens.
Yeah,
and then that's
like,
agree. The vibe, the liveliness. I always think like you want to make it feel like you're in a movie, sexy. Like, you see a part in a movie and you're like, oh yeah, I want to be that person sitting there.
I want to be there, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you have to do that.
We were in North Carolina the other day, and we went to 2 restaurants, and they're packed. They're on a wait. So we go to the 3rd restaurant, no one's there. And we're like, let's go wait at the restaurant, because this seems like
even if the
wrong.
Food's great, you're not going to take the risk, because you're like, how's the food going to be good here?
Yeah, exactly. Like there has to be a reason why they're slow, right? Or and that it could have been the time of day, right? It doesn't matter, whatever it is. But so I think it's so important to, like you said, you manufactured that.
You have to manufacture it.
Right?
Yeah, you have to try to get that going, that it creates that energy.
Well, I want to thank you for being here, man. This is awesome.
Nice
I learned so
chatting.
much. Yeah, I cannot wait to come try your restaurant.
And I look forward to you coming out, and hopefully it'll be a packed bar when you come that night.
I want to try all of them. I definitely want to try your fine dining restaurant. I'm going to try that for sure because I love that experience.
Yeah, that experience is a special experience. I think it's really we've really got it to a point right now. It's really special. Like with the team I have in there and the whole thing, it's really nice. And the music and the vibe.
I've been very fortunate to be able to eat at like a lot of different fine dining restaurants across the United States, and sometimes they end up falling into like the same like template.
Yeah, I think we're all searching for. Sometimes they're Michelin, trying to be for Michelin, and they want a certain what weight they think is Michelin, you know, and then. But Michelin, they tell you they want individuality.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, you got to create that in every way you can.
I've gone to Michelin-style restaurants where I'm like, there's nothing about it that's fine dining, even though it is fine dining.
Yeah.
There's nothing really about it that it broke the mold very
Well, I think
so.
that's it. What is fine dining? Like the finest table, the finest sound,
Right,
right? It could be
yeah.
everything fine.
Right. Yeah. And so I'm really interested to see that. And then I want to check out Charcoal.
Charcoal's great. I mean, I eat there once a week.
Nice.
On my days off at the bar. Well, I like to go and check it out, but I like it because it's like clean, good, healthy food. And when you try to eat healthy, sometimes you leave lacking flavor.
Yep.
And this is anything but that.
I love that. It's simple. It sounds like it's simple.
Simple. It's all grilled. So it's all cooked on charcoal. Meats, fish, vegetables. We don't put meat in the vegetables. Like so many places put like bacon and everything. We don't do that. So it's just
You
clean.
let the vegetables speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly.